Hello, good evening. The MP for Barrow, John Woodcock, has called for Cumbria's acting chief constable to resign in the wake of the force's handling of the investigation into the death of toddler Poppy Worthington. Poppy died in 2012 from severe injuries she sustained at her home in Barrow. Last month, a judge concluded that Poppy had been sexually assaulted by her father, Paul Worthington, shortly before her death, something he denies. This is what Mr Woodcock said in Parliament this afternoon.
The continuation in post of Michelle Skeer as acting chief constable is unsustainable and is to the detriment of restoring confidence in the police force and in the change process which the police force now needs to carry out.
Well, John Woodcock also praised the persistence of the media in highlighting Poppy Worthington's story, and particularly mentioning North West Tonight and our reporter Claire Fallon. Well, earlier I asked Claire if this parliamentary intervention is likely to increase the pressure on Cumbria Police.
I think this will increase the pressure on Cumbria Police, but also on the woman who's currently in charge of Cumbria Police, Michelle Skeer, the acting chief constable. All of this over the way the force dealt with the Poppy Worthington investigation and also dealt with the criticisms that they faced. Poppy Worthington was 13 months old when she was found at the family home with serious injuries. Important to say that her father, Paul Worthington, has never been charged, he's never been prosecuted. He's always insisted that he did nothing wrong. But last month, a family court judge said that he believes Poppy Worthington was sexually abused by her father shortly before or at the time of her death. That judge also made a number of criticisms of Cumbria Police, talking about evidence that was lost and the way that the family home wasn't secured properly by police. But it's not just the judge who's been critical of that police force. The IPCC, the police watchdog, has also criticised Cumbria Police, the problem being that their report hasn't yet been made public. They say they can't publish it yet because of the inquest that's coming up. But I have seen their report. It was leaked to me, and it does reveal serious criticisms, not only of Cumbria Police, but also of the acting chief constable, Michelle Skeer, saying that when she was told about the problems with the police force's investigation, she reacted too slowly. And that's really one of the reasons why John Woodcock stood up in the Commons today and said that she needs to go. I should also point out, Cumbria Police, they've given us no comment. We've asked them for a response, but they've not responded as of yet.
Claire Fallon there. Well, Cumbria Police was one of several named today in relation to stop and search powers. It's been revealed that almost a fifth of all stop and searches carried out by police in Cheshire, Cumbria and Lancashire may have been unlawful. A report by Her Majesty's Inspectorate of Constabulary suggests that in Cheshire there were no reasonable grounds for 22% of searches. In Cumbria, the figure, as you can see, was 21%, 20% in Lancashire. They've all been told that their failures are inexcusable and that they must improve. An inquest has heard how a Greater Manchester firefighter went into meltdown after a colleague died tackling a blaze. Lee Gaunt was found hanged at his fire station in Stalybridge last October. His wife told the court how his mental state had changed and that he felt partly responsible for Stephen Hunt's death. Stephen died while trying to extinguish a fire in Manchester's northern quarter in 2013. Well, Lancashire County Council has tonight passed its budget for the forthcoming financial year, meaning many of the services it provides could now be at risk. The council's having to deal with savings of £84 million, mainly, it says, because of a cut in its central government grant. Our political editor, Arif Ansari, has just sent this report from a sometimes fractious meeting in Preston.
Morning.
Morning, Arif.
How are you feeling today on budget day?
A difficult day to be a council leader, fighting to push through cuts she doesn't want to make.
Time will tell. We're actually still having negotiations with other parties, so...
OK, I'll let you go into your meeting.
Thank you.
And convincing her Labour colleagues they're necessary.
And it's really, really, really important that our budget gets through so that we can carry on, protecting the most vulnerable people of Lancashire. So, on that note, I think let the debates begin.
But outside, campaigners were arriving to urge the council to reconsider. Save our buses! Save our buses! Those trying to save rural bus services.
I'm 50-50 that we might be lucky, that even just like perhaps a stay of execution, that don't really look at it. But I'm hoping we'll come back to report back to the village the good news.
And those fighting for homeless shelters.
Hopefully the councillors will maybe just take a note of what the services are. Do they really know what it is? And possibly overturn some of the decision.
One Conservative MP arrived to blame the council, but some blamed him.
You got it from a government minister.
Disaster for public services.
No, just a moment.
Do you know,
no, just
if
a
you
moment.
want to turn it political, go in there. No, that's right. If you want to turn it political, go in there and ask them why they're not using the reserves. They want you to be here holding placards.
The government wants us to lose public services.
Why are they spending?
The Conservative government isn't interested.
Listen, they don't need to be doing it.
Inside, the council gathered to decide its future. Labour's budget was proposed, but the Tories had other ideas.
It gives the council time to sort it out properly instead of just putting an axe on the services and taking them away from so many vulnerable people in the county.
Councillors left to consider his proposals. It was a moment of hope for those in the public gallery, but Labour said it would only postpone the inevitable.
What we also haven't got is Tory MPs in Lancashire that are prepared to take the fight to the government.
But just over an hour ago, Labour's budget was finally passed. Implementing it will be tougher still. Arif Ansari, BBC North West Tonight, Preston.
Well, junior doctors gathered in Manchester's Piccadilly Gardens this evening to protest against the government's decision to impose new contracts. The Health Secretary, Jeremy Hunt, made the decision after the government's chief negotiator said that discussions were deadlocked. There are fears that many junior doctors will now walk away from the health service.
The government really has made me so angry and disappointed, and I'm really worried about my future now as a junior doctor.
We feel betrayed. You know, we're already the generation who's had our fees hiked up to £9,000 a year for 5 or 6 years of uni.
The next step is us standing together, us having faith in the BMA that they are doing the best that they can, not just for us as junior doctors, but also for the NHS and the patients that use the services.
Well, scientists at the University of Liverpool have developed a new device which could signal a major breakthrough in testing for prostate cancer. It's a condition which affects 1 in every 8 men in the UK, and the new machine can effectively smell it. Becky Barr reports.
This is the prototype of a new device that can sniff a urine sample to detect prostate and bladder cancer. 3 years in the making here at the University of Liverpool, it could provide an alternative to blood testing and the invasive cystoscopy.
Our test will replace some of those steps by asking the gentleman to provide a urine sample. We'll sniff the urine sample with the machine, and if we have the right profile, we'll then go rapidly towards a diagnostic test with a biopsy.
This pilot study involved over 150 men. The detection rate for bladder cancer was about 96%, and for prostate cancer, 90%. That's significantly more accurate than the existing blood test for prostate cancer.
The plan is to commercialise this device so that men across the globe can benefit from it. About 1 in 8 men in the UK will have prostate cancer. Across the globe, in some communities, it's higher than that, as much as 1 in 4 men in some communities.
Bert Massey was diagnosed with bladder cancer 3 years ago. He's been successfully treated and he now faces cystoscopy every 3 months, and he welcomes this research.
If this research works, I would be delighted, because I could go to the hospital. Instead of getting undressed, going to the operating theatre, having a camera inserted into me, and then getting ready, it takes about half a day. I could just go in, give a sample, and hopefully receive a letter a few weeks later saying all clear. And that would also, of course, release up an awful lot of the time of the medical personnel, who wouldn't have to spend so much time doing these routine tests, and they could spend their time treating the people who need the treatment.
The Liverpool researchers, working in collaboration with a team from the University of West England, now hope to carry out a full clinical trial. Becky Barr, BBC North West Tonight, Liverpool.
Remarkable. Rugby League. Salford Red Devils had a night to remember at home to St Helens in the Super League tonight. They scored their 8th try near the end. A second on the night for Niall Evalds to wrap up a 44 points to 10 victory. Straight on to the weather then. Here's Diane.
Good evening to you. Well, I'm afraid we are sticking around with this cold weather all the way through the weekend, and as we start the working week next week, I'm afraid things could get even colder with the air coming toward us directly from the North Pole. Over the next couple of hours, though, 1 or 2 spots of drizzly rain will break out. It's not a big deal at all. Most of us have seen the last of the clear skies. We had a lovely crescent moon a little bit earlier on. That's gone because from the south, the cloud is gradually starting to push in, and over any high-level routes, there could be, well, a little bit of sleet. Nothing too much more than that. I think it's going to be light rain for most of us. So the cloud continues to head north as you head toward the early hours of the morning. Overnight temperatures probably around their lowest about now, -1 and -2 rurally for your towns and for your cities, 2 and 3 degrees. And then for tomorrow, it's cold and it's not even going to be particularly sunny. There will be 1 or 2 bright spells from time to time, but you can see from the charts it's fairly grey, and that means it will be fairly gloomy as well. Into the afternoon, 1 or 2 spots of drizzle will break out here and there. That won't be a big problem. It's just the fact that you won't see any sunshine, really, any real direct sunshine. In terms of temperatures, well, the 5 or 6 that you get won't feel anywhere near as good as that. Your national forecast is next, but I'll leave you with the outlook for the next couple of days, including your weekend. Good night.